So now, we're gonna go through the top requested stocks. I think you'll be having your paddle. The paddles are back. The thumbs up, thumbs down. No, so we're gonna go through. Actually, we already got a list of from when you guys registered. You requested some stocks, and we got the top 5. So could you show the list? Okay, can we go to the first one first? Kasi I'm sure ito yung pinaka-excited lahat ng tao, no? So I want to go to Plus and Bloom first, no? So Plus in particular kasi, di ba? Top actively traded, no? So can we go to Plus and Bloom first? And I'd like to hear April's thoughts first on. Yeah, go ahead. So for Plus first, sige. Thumbs up or thumbs down? So from our experts, and I'd like you to explain. At the current price, mura na, oh.
Paano yan tinaas ka na?
I'll change the read. I'm going to do it this way.
Bago yun. That's a different red, but it's up. Okay, so maybe we'll ask later Sir Juanis to explain. But I'll go to April first. Did you raise? What did you raise? Did you raise? Thumbs down. Okay. Go ahead.
No, diba kasi nga yung the regulation, that really is what is concerning about, I mean, yeah, I know it's like down a lot, but how much is it ba? 30 ba?
Yeah, I think close to 30.
30. Kung totoo lang, mura na yan, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero the question is, we don't know kasi what the final form of the regulation is. On the one hand, you have, if you really are into protecting people, maganda talaga yung version na nilabas ni Senator Gatchalian. Yeah. But, yun na nga, the questions about what do you mean by linking the e-wallets? Delinking it na, or bawal na ba talaga sa app? Bawal na bang may link from the app? Bawal na ba na parang credit card mo na naka-register na para isang pindot na lang yung na papasok na yung pera, and will the 5,000 top up be reduced? Yung mga ganon na mga tanong, because 5,000 seems to be a little bit too high, but knowing that the ARPU is around the 1,000 peso level and the minimum is at 5,000, then definitely you will have a major impact on that, and we don't know how bad will be. Yun lang naman, a lot of uncertainty. So, I wouldn't be so brave to be buying it right now.
I think just for context, I mean, this hasn't been adjusted yet in light of the uncertainty, so I don't know what the new one is. But I think at 30 pesos, I think it's about 8 times PE. Yeah. So cheap, but as you're saying, there's a lot of uncertainty also. But I guess my question also is, I think they announced that they're planning to launch in Brazil also.
Yeah. Oo.
But at the same time,
but yung
may
Brazil
news,
may
diba?
news,
Yeah.
tataasan din yung tax nila.
Yeah, tatasan yung tax, yeah.
So, di rin natin alam Diba? So, we don't know.
All right. So, for you, wag muna because of a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. Oo.
Okay. Sir Juanis, your thoughts?
Okay, so anyway, I know I turned this upside down, but it's still a red, right? The reason why I put a thumbs up is because this last 5 days of murder, they are trying to factor in that potential reality, right? So I guess the question is, how much of that reality comes out, right? We don't know. And so you're going to have to ask yourself the question, what type of company do you want to buy? Because there's so many variables that could happen inside here, and you're literally spinning the roulette wheel trying to buy this, right? Because you don't know what the end result of that bill will be. It will be so restrictive for the stock that it'll affect its earnings tremendously. It might be, how many PE did you say? 8 times? 8 times PE at 30, it could jump up if that earnings were to be able to be shaken down. So it's hard to really put yourself into a position here with all those question marks. And that's the reason is normally I wouldn't want to trade issues like that, right? Because you've got a lot of questions that could happen and variants of certain realities that could happen. Okay, so I guess people are pounding me on this stock for the last 3 days, right? It's like, Juanis. I said, God, I couldn't even do my market report because they were just clobbering me on the plus. And I said, why do you only ask me that question when prices are falling down? Nobody asked me the question when prices were going up and when to get out in case prices were softening. And I don't blame you. Even our professional traders are still waiting on that stock right now. So that's how in love people were with this particular stock. It reminds me of a stock long time ago, doesn't it?
Which
That-
one? Which one?
Which one? Maybe were you still around? So anyway, so the context of this is prices have been trying to be able to factor in what potential reality is. It's hit major support already. I honestly didn't think it was going to go that low immediately. But I mean, I could be wrong. It could still continue. But I've seen 2 days of heavy volume that looks like it's trying to capitulate. That means it's trying to go into what we call a selling climax. And normally after that, you get a rebound, right? A rebound will come off this. What I can't tell you whether it's going to be small or big. I'm hoping it can even go back to the 200 or maybe 100-day moving average. If it does that, that should get out the free card. Or whoever is still there, I mean. Right? Because what's going to happen after this, because of the uncertainty, is people who are stuck there are going to sell this if this rallies. Many people are waiting to do that. Right? And they're not selling because it's just too low. So when this rally comes, and you see some of those some of those losses wind down a little bit, they will take advantage of that and liquidate this. So what's going to happen is it'll rebound, and then it's going to consolidate and head back down, and then it's going to wind up because they don't know what to expect in the stock. Okay? So I'm not looking at this of going back to the previous high. I think you better factor that in. And so it's damage control. So now I'm in this situation, how do I get out? Right? So you can either lighten this thing at current prices or you wait for the rally and you try to be able to do that. Right? If you're asking me to try to buy this on a bounce, that's what I mean by you're spinning the roulette wheel. Right? And that normally is not what we do. We want to see better formations come in, and hopefully the fundamentals can improve as the successfulness of that initiating bill is brought out into perspective. So just please be very careful with this.
Yeah, so very comprehensive answer. No? So pag ipit, maybe lighten some now, or maybe wait for the relief rally and then lighten there. And then those who wanna bottom fish, red.
Just,
wag,
yes,
wag.
if you do so, then just visit me and tell me about your success story or not to one day.
All right. One thing we haven't talked about though, no? So, kasi a lot of people are expecting also, in light of all of these uncertainty regulatory-wise, that they'll be included in the next index rebalancing, right? Which already concluded that the period is at the end of June, so like June 30, no? So basically no impact na the last few days in terms of the weighting, in terms of the calculation. So I think, as far as I understand, they're still expected to be added in the index unless, I don't know, if the PSEI would make like last minute changes, I don't know. But from the looks of it, it looks like they'll be added.
Yeah.
So how do we balance, right? Because usually when a company is added to the index, right, you see buying pressure. So how do we navigate all of these like seemingly conflicting?
I don't know. You ask Juanis. Juanis what to do.
See, they always run to me when things look risky. This is the reason why it will rally. Right? I mean, to factor in the potential of the index inclusion. So the index will rally, but it has to be able to, go to that selling climax first before you get into that recovery. But like I said, I think it'll recover because of that potential. But when does it structurally become safer for you guys to be able to position for a longer term, right? I know some of you might still be thinking, take advantage of it now that prices are there because of this crisis. Yes. But normally when I do that, the first question I ask myself is the problem a short-term problem or is it a long-term problem? If your answer is a short-term, then you should be waiting to buy this. But the problem is you're coming out with a bill that could structurally, de-incentivize people to be able to go to this business and make it hard for them to be able to collect the money that they're doing right now in enormous amounts. And that affects your business long-term. right? So that's why the idea over here is just try to be able to get yourself into a more manageable situation for the meantime, and things clarify themselves to you a little bit more. But yes, this was an issue that you had to think about because of the index inclusion. So can you imagine what would have happened is if they actually included that into the index and then this news came out, right? So at least it happened before.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to move on. We have a lot of stocks to cover. No? So next one, let's go through Bloom. April, can you
Yeah.
explain what's
Okay.
happening here?
So aside from that,
Aside from that, of course, yeah.
well, it went up first because they announced na, launch na yung Mega Fanalo, di ba? So, yan, umakit siya. Because finally, after, by the way, the earnings of Bloom were bad. In the first quarter, the profits are down 85%. So people were thinking, so now you're entering into e-gaming, so that's actually your opportunity to make money, serious money, because yun na nga, there seems to be a market share grab. Like even Pagcor came out with data, I think more than 50% of the revenues are now from e-gaming. So finally, they're going to a strong segment, kaya umakyat yung share price. The problem is, okay, so now with this threat going on, let's go to the brick and mortar casino. The problem is, will it turn around in the second quarter? The answer is not yet, because they already disclosed that there was a closure of 2 major junket operators that will hit the second quarter earnings. So still not good. As far as Mega Fanalo is concerned, aside from the heightened regulatory risk, diba, usually when, like, we talk about it, like, may mga scenarios where you have a sell on news eh. Kasi minsan maganda yung news, and yet, it will take time. So now the hard work begins. And how much are they gonna spend? They said they're gonna spend 2 to 4 billion in marketing expenses for Mega Fanalo. And the question is, we don't know if they will succeed. So, pwedeng, di naman lahat ng pinasukan ng negosyo, kikita ka eh. Pwede ka ring matalo. And the fact that, they committed to spend 2 to 4 billion and then this regulation will come out. I mean, what will happen next? We don't know, di ba? And then, finally, they are expected to be removed from the PSEI index come August rebalancing. So, yun, another bad news for them. I think longer term, maybe baka mas may good news because maybe the brick and mortar business could benefit if the e-gaming business is regulated even more. So you'll see more, I guess the mass market may improve.
So I take it your thumbs down. So you
Yes.
didn't show it as okay. Thumbs down. How about you, Sir
Yeah,
Juanis?
for the meantime, I have to do a thumbs down as
Okay.
well. Primarily also because of the threats into the industry. It broke through support. And even though I think it might try to be able to do a base, I think consolidation will come up. So that might limit upsides. I would favor looking at other issues at the moment.
Yeah. All right, especially with the potential PSEI removal. Okay, so let's go to the next requested stock. Was it PLDT? Can we go to, yeah. So I'll ask first kung thumbs up or thumbs down from each of you, if you like it or not, and then, so is it, okay, interesting again. Okay. April,
Actually, for me, it's like more like, it's like complicated.
Okay, it's complicated.
pero
Okay.
hindi. I feel like it's more like the scenario of the property sector. If it goes up, it's more of a trade. Kasi I understand why you may want to buy this because interest rates are going down. It provides an 8% dividend yield. So in that respect, I do understand. But on the negative side, okay, again, this will be affected by the Konektadong Pinoy bill. So, and then secondly, the mobile business, as we said, is currently encountering heightened competition with Ditto gaining market share right now. So, mobile is still 50% of the business, by the way. That's why we're a little bit worried about that. still. So, yun yung mga issues namin. But, and the regulation pala in e-gaming, okay, through Maya. But that said, okay, compared to Globe, let's say if you were to make me pick, if I had to choose between Globe and PLDT, I think PLDT is in a better position compared to Globe. Because first of all, when you talk about e-gaming regulation, Maya is more predominantly a bank rather than an e-wallet. So, hindi siya ganun ka-popular among the gamers versus GCash, which is really being used significantly by the e-gamers. On the mobile phone side naman of the business, Globe is 70% mobile and PLDT is around 50%. So, again, less vulnerable in that respect. So, yeah, I'd say more, it's safer.
All right. But so it's cheap.
Saka higher
but still-
dividend yield.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
cheap, higher dividend yield, but at the same as there's still some uncertainties also in terms of their earnings, right?
I mean,
That's
but I feel like maybe it could rally, but then sustainability might not be there.
Okay. Sir Juanis?
Well, I guess I'd agree with April's statements as well. So I think there will be a limited approach in terms of the rally, but I understand that being in a range. And right now, I'll trade it as it were a range until, of course, that blue line. If that blue line breaks, then I will easily turn this the other way around. But right now, it's just range trading for PLDT. But like you said, you got good dividends. It's holding to that support 3 times. So hopefully, we can get to the upper bound of that range for now.
All right. So even if parang opposite kayo ng answer, no? Initially, it seems like it's really more aligned, no? Kasi more limited upside potential in a range, given the sustainability of the fundamental.
And if I may, Charles, I mean, I guess my answers are really geared for the trade, right? As April said, I guess it's a more longer-term position that you have to take.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification. No? Okay, can we look at the next requested stock? Jollibee, thumbs up or thumbs down? Experts. Oh. Okay, very good. Stocks, ha? Stock. Okay.
I know I won't be able to sleep tonight.
April, go ahead.
No, we kind of explained it a while ago na nga, di ba? First quarter, okay, profits are down 7.5%, which is a negative surprise. I think 2 quarters negative surprise. First quarter, the first was the fourth quarter because of Smash Burger na nag-negative surprise. First quarter actually is complicated because medyo nag-improve ng konti yung foreign, but still, poor performance of China, Smash Burger still poor, higher interest expense. So talagang mapakamot ka ng ulo, hindi pa talaga malaman.
Sige na nga.
And then still threats from a weaker economy in the US, China, and Vietnam. Yun.
Sir Juanis, this is one of your picks a while ago, so we kind of discussed it already, but anything you'd like to add?
Well, the reason why I put it there is, if I'm looking at a much bigger picture of this, Jollibee has fallen to really a major low, right? There's a big rising channel that it had taken place since the 2021, if I remember correctly. And that blue line you see above going upwards is that major low. So that's at 220. So if that particular area holds and that seemingly attempt to try to accumulate holds well and pushes up, then hopefully we can get a range trade for it to go back to 260 pesos. So again, the potential trade. Of course, if I'm wrong, then a breakdown from 20, we'll see that at 203 and probably see a little bit more on the lower side. So the caveat is just make sure you have a stop place at 220 just to protect yourself just in case we're wrong.
Okay, and I think we have the last stop. Okay, Ayala Land. Thumbs up? Thumbs down?
Ako nga sabi ko,
thumbs down?
hindi, complicated yan parang ganun. So kaso lang walang ganun. So, yun nga.
Isang side lang po yung paddle na. Everything's
Kaya
red.
nga kunya.
Okay.
Ito na lang. No,
Go
kasi
ahead, boss.
For me, I understand the reason why you want to buy this is because of the falling interest rates, and it's considered to be the best proxy, largest market cap, most liquid. Definitely, like even if we talk to foreign investor, natatanong niya aren't the property companies going to benefit from falling interest rates? Parang they also want to trade it. So yeah, I think maybe it's so cheap. Like I looked at it like, oo nga, target price natin 38. Bakit ayaw mo, di ba? Parang wala namang problema. But, in that respect, okay, the sustainability nga of the recovery is what I'm really worried about because, residential developments is still a big chunk of the business talaga. Maybe like around 50-60%. And in the past, maybe hindi naman recent past, but maybe 2023, they were boasting, the Ayala Land Premier brand, the super luxury, is still growing, take up sales. But mind you, I think starting the fourth quarter, even the Ayala Land Premier projects are having a hard time delivering take up sales. And then there's a huge oversupply on the residential side. The offices nga parang mas may opportunity pa, but still there is an oversupply. So we can't expect rapid growth in that end. Probably single-digit growth. So yeah, I think the huge oversupply is still an issue for the residential properties.
In terms of the oversupply, boss, is it winding off soon or matagal pa?
Matagal pa. Several years pa raw.
Alright.
Tsaka okay, lower interest rates would be good. The problem is, from a practical perspective, the current prices. Okay, so we asked so many years ago, are you inclined to cut selling prices? Sabi nila, they cannot do that. Kasi magagalit yung mga buyers nila. Yung mga nakabili nung una, tapos magka-cut ka ng price, edi magagalit sila. So it's not their policy daw to cut prices. So what we notice is what they'll do is, they'll extend the payment terms. Kaya ngayon, may 7-year payment term, 0 down, ganyan. But then if you think about it, kahit anong tumbling mo, mahal pa rin talaga siya. Kaya, I don't know, you need income to catch up, really. Or parang supply to dry up.
Okay. Sir Juanis?
Okay, so on the technical front and on the trade front, I think the recent rally into prices were really caused by what April just said. No, the potential for rates to come down, because that's supposed to benefit the property issue. Technically, it broke through several resistance zones, which is the first good sign. Now, will that complete the reversal? And I said not yet. And the reason why, although it broke the first swing, what it needs to do now is it needs to be able to whip itself back down, generate a higher low, and then rally from there. So yes, I put a green marker on this, but not at the current area, right? If you notice, I shaded a green channel going up. So what I want to see here is I want prices to come back down towards the lower end of that green zone, which will be my thinking where a new recovery channel may come. Now, I don't expect a recovery in Ayala Land to be phenomenal, but probably still over in time. Do remember that stock prices try to be able to reflect fundamentals ahead of time, right? It might still be feeling some bearishness now, but clearly something came into the picture to help. And this is the reason why we saw this particular rally. And in my language, it broke through several resistance zones, so that's a first good sign. It clearly tells me it's better now than it was a couple of months ago, right? So my objective now is, as I told you, a run-up is not where you want to buy. You have to wait for prices to come down. It's just run-up. So I will have to wait for prices to peter down and look for a potential buy window, given that. Then you buy it, it'll probably go to another consolidation, but hopefully it'll be a recovery channel in its stead. And that's why I inked it out as a green now.
So is it correct, sir? So it kind of signals that maybe we've seen the bottom already for Ayala Land. Is that correct? Or
In my perspective, yes. Although, as April said, and that's why you see property prices will come back down to its previous low. So that's the one that kind of got everybody, I suppose, worried, right? I mean, because we really cannot determine how much of that supply and how long that supply will last, and what will happen with the interest rates and how far it will go down. But looks like, yes, I would agree with you. It looks like it's probably found its low.
all right, okay. Now we go to the poll that you guys I think answered. So do we have the results of that for the most requested stocks? Okay, so first one is SM Prime. So this is from today's live polls, no? So you guys voted for it. Thumbs up or thumbs down, and your thoughts. Oh, yun. Good pick. Okay, April, your thoughts?
Yeah. I would say in some ways it's similar to Ayala Land, except that between the two of them, SM Prime is more malls. So malls still doing well. And that should benefit SM Prime more. Although, yeah, I understand that if you have a falling interest rate environment, gusto mo mabilis, doon ka sa residential. Pero mukhang matagal yun eh. Pero meron din naman siya.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sir Juanis?
Well, I take it from the same Ayala Land chart. It's actually less nice than what I saw in Ayala Land, but it's going through the same process. So I think it's encountered a bottom. It's tested that 3 times, and now it needs to just break resistance before we can see more upward action. So again, the strategy here is you buy closer to the major support and not be buying at the top, right? You're buying on the dips that comes closer to the base.
All right. Short and sweet. Okay, next one. Next, AREIT. Okay, sige. Yeah, AREIT. Thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay, both thumbs up again. Can you explain?
Yeah.
thoughts?
In general, like we like REITs naman because they will benefit from falling interest rates. Ang kaso lang, I mean, why are RCR and CREIT going up more compared to AREIT? Kasi parang AREIT, parang nandyan na eh. The story came to fruition na the assets were already injected. They became it became an index stock. And in a way right now, ang hindi maganda kay AREIT is because, you know, they did it ahead of time. They promised the rents already. So, committed na. So, makukompute mo na talaga yung rents. And the I think rental reversion is around 2%. Mga ganun lang. Mababa lang yung rental reversion. So, DPS growth will probably be slow. And we don't know what the plans are for the next set of asset injections, if they will or they won't, or, you know, less visibility. But that said, as interest rates go down, they will still benefit. Tsaka I think the dividend yield of AREIT is not as high compared to the others. That's why medyo, it's not performing as strongly. But no problem. I mean, they will still benefit from falling interest rates. Dividend will still grow, but at a slower pace.
I think last Friday, just yesterday, they announced a placement, right? Sorry, Ali. Yes.
Well, if they announce a placement, it means they'll be injecting again,
Yeah,
which is
again,
again a
injection again,
positive.
sorry.
Maybe that's why recently the share price went up. Sorry, I didn't see that.
All right. In terms of the technicals, could we show the chart, please?
No, like, I think with most REITs, I mean, remember, the structure here is a longer term trade or hold, right, for a REIT, because you're really gunning for the dividend they give you. So the only matter what you're trying to do when you look for potentially for a REIT is looking for a good entry price. I'm not looking to buy and sell this. I'm just looking to when to enter it because I'm going to be holding on to it for its dividend. So in a case like this, so it's just run up, late for it to correct for a couple of days, hopefully back closer to where the orange line is, and that's might give you a better entry point for a REIT. But nothing wrong with the technicals on this.
Okay. Next one. SEC. Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs down. do we think?
I'm thinking.
Kailangan mabilis, no?
Okay, I'll put a red for now.
Okay, interesting. Even with, I don't know, 12, 13% dividend yield, also, why? Why red? April.
Largely due to falling coal prices, really. Yeah, but yeah, I understand that 12-13% dividend yield is very attractive. So maybe, yeah, siguro di ba kasi tinatanong mo, we're already so cheap. Are we still gonna go down? Maybe, yeah, it will stay here. It's more of that. Because of the 13% dividend yield, maybe it will stay at current levels. But it's really just because of that. But fundamentals, I mean, it will be hurt by falling coal prices.
Yeah. Yeah, so falling coal prices. And I believe also even in terms of the power, because I think the Western prices fell
Yeah,
during the first
the Western
quarter.
prices, like even now, I think it's down pa rin.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Could you talk briefly lang? So I know it's SEC, but briefly lang. Because I think power demand has been relatively weak, like first half.
Yes,
Like,
because
thoughts on this?
Because last year, because of the El Nino, you have a high base. Power demand last year was very strong because of El Nino. So it was very hot. People were using their air conditioning, electric fan, etc. So this year you have, that's one of the issue. And another issue kasi is, for example, the power-intensive sectors like the cement industry, no, that one is taking a hit because cement prices are down, and we see overcapacity out of Vietnam coming in. So you have power usage from heavy industries such as that weakening in the first half. So, yun yung mga factors. And also, kasi marami ring pumapasok na bagong capacity na online na mga power plants.
Okay, so cheap, maybe it won't go down as much because of the huge dividends, but in terms of re-rating potential, baka limited.
Yes.
All right. Sir Juanis, your thoughts?
Well, my concern is that it's kind of broken most of those moving averages, and it's staying down there and building an area pattern, right? And it doesn't feel like a bottoming out swing. It feels more like a continuation swing. And that means that people are selling it as prices recover, right? So that's my first concern. Second is, we did see the other day a DMC respond to the rally that we saw because of property. This did not. And I'm worried, as April pointed out, I mean, there could be some weakness into energy prices, especially since we didn't see the war really blow up into any big thing. And that could impact, especially if oil prices were to break major support, which will put downward pressure into other energy sources as well. So I'd like to remain defensive on this for the meantime.
Okay, great. Next stop, please. Globe. Okay. So I'll give you 10 seconds to think, and no need for the 10 seconds. Okay, thumbs down for both. Can you share your reasons why?
So, as mentioned earlier, it's more vulnerable to the threats facing the telco industry. So, you have intensifying competition on the mobile space from dito. E-gaming regulations limiting the use of e-wallets, again, through GCash. And in general, the Konektadong Pinoy bill. Tapos, dividend yield is lower compared to PLDT.
I guess I have to ask, no, thoughts on GCash's IPO? Like, ano na ba yung latest dyan? And could it cause a...
Oh, they're not rushing it kasi they don't really need the money. And of course, if you were in the shoes of GCash, ngayon ka pa mag-IPO, di lahat magtatanong. What's the impact of the e-gaming bill on your profitability? I'm sure they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to talk about it. They'd rather wait when everything's like great.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Sir Juanis?
Well, the downtrend maintains itself. I think even if it rallies, it'll probably be short-lived. In order for it to bottom out, it would still need to build a bottoming out pattern. So it's still too early to say that the worst is over. So I'd rather just, again, stay out of it for the meantime, let it accomplish what it wants, and then one day, maybe, when April's great will come back, then maybe we can look at it again.
Okay, perfect. I think we have one more. AC. Okay, thumbs up or
How do I do
thumbs-
this sideways?
Okay, so thumbs down for April and then medyo 50-50
Yeah,
for Juanis.
not at this price, I guess.
Okay. April,
Yeah,
your thoughts?
actually medyo 50-50. Pero, hindi kasi, the way we view AC is on its own, you don't want to buy it. What you do with AC is you wait for Ayala Land. If Ayala Land goes up, then yon AC will follow suit. Kasi there is no specific reason why you would want to buy AC because all of the subsidiaries are already listed, di ba? You have Ayala Land, BPI, ASEN, Globe.
Globe, yeah.
So and then on its own, can it deliver double-digit earnings growth? No. The smaller subsidiaries, the next growth drivers are still losing money. So wala parang, except of course, it's dirt cheap. It's really cheap. Pero yun na nga, if you can buy all the other subsidiaries and they're all cheap, most likely you would just buy them rather than AC. So if the main, I think, subsidiary that people are looking at is Ayala Land. If Ayala Land goes up and it hits the 30 plus peso range, then they will shift to AC.
Yeah, so just to clarify, because a while ago you had SM as one of your picks, but if I get it correctly, the difference is for SM, they have SM Retail.
Yes.
That's not listed. So at least there's a reason for you to buy SM. But for AC, there's less of a reason because a huge chunk is really all listed names na.
Yeah, yung meron naman siyang non-listed, but the non-listed ones are still losing money at this point and
Very
not interesting.
Okay. Sir Juanis?
Well, on my end, it's locked into a box, and we're in the top end of that box. And looking at some of the other components that it owns, Globe, which we didn't like, Ayala Land looks like it ran up already and may need to correct. BPI is still on the way down to try to look for support. So it's very hard for me to see a sustainable rally out of this, and more likely to see this more likely pull back. So I wouldn't touch it at this area. I'd wait for prices to come down maybe near the lows, or if not slightly higher low, then maybe the range trade Ayala Core.
All right. Great. So I think, do we have more? No more? Okay, we're good, right? So I think to summarize at least the live picks, you have SM Prime and AREIT. I think both of you gave like thumbs up. SCC Globe, both of you gave thumbs down, no? And then for AC, parang both are like 50-50-ish. Okay, so a good mix of listed stocks. So so that ends our third segment. I think before we go to the last one, we have a few
Yeah, just some announcements. So thank you for that insightful and comprehensive discussion, sharing your outlook and the stocks to watch. And I can see that the people here are really enjoying the thumbs down, thumbs up session. So they're very engaged. And also, we're seeing a lot of interest online because we are joined by over thousands of people on Facebook and Zoom. And we also got hundreds of people voting para dun sa ating most requested stocks. So, I know you're also excited because marami pa kayong questions. So before we proceed to the next segment, we'd like to remind everyone again to submit your questions through the Q&A tab in Slido. And for those of you who are here with us live, you can also approach our CEMs so you can ask your questions using the microphone. And again, we also encourage everyone to answer our post-event survey later because it will help us, your feedback will help us in making these events better for you. So now let me turn it over again to our speakers and moderator for the Q&A portion. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. So we're gonna ask questions from you guys, but maybe I should start it first. Do we have the first question ready, or should I start? Yeah. Do you have the question already? Okay. Let's go through so we can answer more questions. Okay. Can you elaborate on the effects of Konektadong Pinoy? How long after it is enacted will it impact the income of telcos, and by how much do you expect it to decrease? From Chris,
Actually, the devil is in the detail. Pero, okay, we don't know, but on the positive side, like we did the rounds with the telcos, what we learned is, sabi nila, they can do wholesale. Meaning, if you were old enough to remember, before, di ba, may ABS-CBN Mobile. So, ABS did not own anything, but they were piggybacking on Globe's network. So, magkakaroon ng mga ganun types of setups where, they will be selling capacity wholesale to, the new entrants. But that said, so another thing we did was, and another thing we learned is that they have this open access scheme in other countries. Okay, but since nagmamadali kami, hindi na namin mabasa, etc. We asked ChatGPT. Sorry, nag-cheating kami. We asked ChatGPT. So, what happened in the other countries where they had open access? And they said that it had a negative impact talaga on, of course, it's better for consumers, but it negatively affected the incumbents. Kasi syempre, yung more competition, less profitability.
Yeah, especially more competition in a mature
In a mature
in a
market.
mature industry.
So no matter what you say, may negative impact. But I guess the question is like how negative is negative. Probably not so negative if they can lease out because they have capacity naman no? But merong konting negative impact kasi baka yung mga ARPUs ng subscribers mo, instead of maybe spending 200 peso a month, 500 peso, they will spend less because they have more choice.
Yeah. Maybe I can just comment on this also, no? Because interesting, they're asking us like the impact not to quantify the impact. And I guess that's the thing, right? Usually it's the story or the narrative first that comes, right? And then the numbers would come later on, but when that time comes, it's already reflected in the share price. No? So sometimes it's really difficult to quantify these things, especially these uncertainties. But at least important that we understand the direction of like earnings and
Maybe you guys better explain why is the difference that it'll affect those guys and not Ditto or more PLDT Globe rather than Ditto? Why is that? I mean, they might need to know.
Why won't it affect? Actually,
will it affect everybody the same?
potentially, Ditto will benefit pa. Because one of his issues right now, okay, we looked at the financials of Ditto. Ditto kasi is EBITDA positive, meaning at least it can already fund its day-to-day operations. The problem is it has a lot of debts. And if you have a lot of debts, and then you need to capex, you need to borrow even more money, which obviously it's not in a position to do that because interest expense pa lang. Hindi na niya alam kung paano niyang babayaran. So at least if it is able to piggyback on the incumbent's infrastructure and mababa naman yung presyo niya, it makes sense, then they can, they can roll out faster, gain more market share without spending as much money. I mean, they'll still spend, but they don't need to spend as much. So, but then again, we don't know kasi we don't know how much the incumbents will charge them for the infrastructure and if they can gain critical mass or the scale to actually make money from those leases. No, that's something we don't know yet.
all right.